You could share screen.
And I've already set up for multiple sharing.
Okay, great. So if I have anything I want to show, I can put it on.
Okay. So what's the deal? You want me to take it away, or do you want to do it?
It's your class.
I'm sorry?
It's your class.
All righty. Well, welcome one, welcome all. Let us. Okay. Am I sharing?
You are.
Well, this is going to be an exciting thing. Our big goal here is to get you to, let me close the door here. It keeps the cats out. All right. Yeah, our big goal here is to get you to a point where, first off, you will feel comfortable in taking the technician class license exam. And I hope, we're going to have a little fun along the way. We've got this set up for 9 sessions, and that's fine because there are 9 chapters in the book. Some are more interesting than others. Now, the cool thing about this is that for the technician license, for those of you who are math shy, there is not, a bunch of math involved in the technician license material. By the time you get up, if you take, the next step is the general. Well, you probably all know that there are 3 different license classes. Technician is the first, and you get all kinds of cool privileges on VHF and UHF bands. The next step up is the general. It's a little tougher exam, and it's 50 questions. No, it's not. It's still 35 questions.
35 questions.
It's still 35 questions. It's a little tougher material, but also, kind of interesting material. By the time you get to the highest license, that's the extra class license, there, you'll have to feel somewhat comfortable with math because there is some trig involved. You need to know just a little bit about cosines and sines, and a little bit about also, you may remember, for those of you who have been out of high school for a while, you went through that one module in, what was it, probably second year algebra 2, where you talked about what they called imaginary numbers. Well, well, actually, there's nothing imaginary about those numbers. You can't really explain the universe without them. And you will need to know a little bit about those numbers when you get to the extra class license. But for the technician class, no way. As long as you can divide something into 300, you're okay. And you don't even have to do that very much. The privileges you are going to be on the VHF and UHF bands. This is above 30 megahertz. Now, all throughout this session, through the whole 9 weeks, we're going to be referring to different frequencies and frequency bands. I sent you out, I hope everyone got the handouts that I sent. I sent you out a, let me try this. Okay, I'm back to not sharing. I sent you, now you have this, you had a black and white version of this chart in your manual. For those of you who already have the manual, there's a black and white version of this. I think it's easier to read in the full color version, so I sent you this. And why I pull it up right now is because we are going to be talking about different frequency bands, and sometimes we'll refer to it as wavelengths, which would be like the 2-meter band or the 10-meter band or the 6-meter band. Those are the physical length of the radio waves. But we also may be referring to these bands in terms of their frequencies. And the frequencies, well, let's look at the 2-meter band, because this is a great one for technicians. The 2-meter band starts at 144 megahertz and goes up to 148 megahertz. Okay, so this particular band can be referred to either as the 2-meter band, because the radio wave for 45 megahertz is roughly 2 meters, which is just a bit over 6 feet 6 inches. And so it can be referred to as the 2-meter band or as the 144 megahertz band, the 144 or 140, or really any number in between 144 and 148. Okay.
Don't let any of this floor you. We're going to explain everything to you in excruciating detail. So
I just wanted to give them a real quick,
Sure.
Because we flip into this jargon and say, oh, the 2-meter band, oh, the 440 megahertz band is one that's a little bit higher. At any rate, so I am Bob Lauer, N8REL. Hello, everyone. And with me, and we'll also be presenting, we've got Jerry Bigell, W9MPI. Jerry is kind of the Jedi master of all things ham radio.
Almost.
and Hugh Boyle. And you know what? I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I got into ham radio. I've had my license for just since 2004. I am a general class licensee, and I really kind of got into ham radio really through the back door. Back in the 1980s, when I was still in the Army Reserve, and back then, we didn't use the Army Reserve or the Army National Guard for small wars. They were really sitting around waiting for the Russians to attack West Germany, and our mission was to be deployed to Germany. At any rate, at that time, I just happened to have you don't hear about this anymore, the big AM FM stereo cassette radios. They used to be called boom boxes, and I had a great big one, a shoulder model, they used to say, and it had some shortwave bands on it. And I started listening to those shortwave bands, and what I really became interested in was listening to our enemies. Was listening back then. Radio Moscow was all over the shortwave bands in multiple frequencies. Virtually any time of the day, you could listen to Radio Moscow either in English or in Spanish. Those are the only two languages I really know. But they also had a slew of other languages, but they were all over the place, and I just became interested in listening to them. Because of my Army connection. The other thing that we heard a lot back then was Radio Havana, Cuba. Radio Havana, Cuba is still on, by the way, and you can hear it, multiple times during the day. They broadcast both in Spanish and in English. I don't remember if they broadcast in other languages also. I think they do, but I don't know. At any rate, so I just became a shortwave listener and listened for years. And again, back then it was before the internet, and all countries had lots of different radio programs on, and excellent ones too. Out of Germany, there was Radio Deutsche Welle. Out of Switzerland, there was Swiss Radio International. Radio Canada International was on and had excellent programming. Radio España Exterior is still on, and it has some programming on, although they don't broadcast much to North America. But at any rate, so after years of listening to the shortwave radio, I fiddling around on the bands, I started hearing ham radio operators, and I got interested that way. And so I finally, studied up and took my technician test in 2004, and I've been playing around with it ever since. Okay, Jerry, do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I go back a few more years than Bob. I was 14 years old when I got
Although
my
we're about
first
the same
license.
age.
Yeah, right. Right. I was 14 years old when I got my license. It came about because I needed to learn Morse code for my first class Scouts badge. And I worked very hard to learn the Morse code. It didn't come easy for me. And once I had it, I wanted to keep it. And it seemed that the ham radio licenses at that time required you to know Morse code. So I started there, and eventually went up the line from. They had a novice class license, which was an easier license, but it expired after 1 year and forced you to become a general. And I was a general for a few years. Then they had something called an advanced class, and then the extra class. The extra class now is the third step. So anyway, it was 2008 that I got the extra class. I've been around the United States a little bit. I was W1FQZ when I was in Salem, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island. I was K8DJQ in Michigan. Then when I moved to Rockford, Illinois, I became W9KRG. In Denver, I was W0MKL. And let's see, W1FQZ in Salem, Massachusetts. And finally, when I got to the Chicago area, W9NPI. After that, the FCC stopped issuing licenses whenever you moved. So I just kept the W9NPI. And people think I'm an oddball on that, but that's the way it is. I have a certain notoriety in the area. And I've given lectures on various aspects of radio history. If there's a little time, I have a very short presentation on ham radio that I could put up there, Bob. And other than that, I'm operating pretty much the high frequency bands that are those are the exciting ones that bounce off the ionosphere and go into different countries. Right now, if you can hear in the background, that Morse code is a fellow in St. Eustatius, which is in the Caribbean, and he's talking to most of the European stations. They want to have contacts, want to get that on the record. Sometimes you could get awards for certain countries and having certain amounts of countries. I was also very interested in civil defense. And, Bob was saying, I was 18 years old and I was sitting in the basement shivering while I was listening to Radio Moscow talk about the missiles it had in Cuba. So I did my bit with that. And with that, all three of us are going to act as both your teachers and your mentors. If you have any questions about buying equipment or anything of that sort, you can talk to us. Don't buy anything until you've taken 3 or 4 weeks of this, because it'll open your eyes, I think. And without further ado, you talk to us.
Well, hi, everybody. I've been in amateur radio since about 2015. When I retired, I wanted a little more something to do, and I wanted to hang around a bunch of great guys and share experiences. I got a radio willed to me with the promise that I would learn how to use it. I couldn't find anybody to show me how to use it, and came across a radio licensing class that the Hazel Park Club was putting on at Lawrence Tech. And so I took the class, got immensely interested in it, met a bunch of wonderful guiding people, and just couldn't ask for better. And then that's the way it is. That's what I got. And I come a long ways thanks to people like Bob and Jerry. That's what I got for you guys. I'll turn it over to Bob.
Okay, thank you. You met all these great guys, and now you're stuck with us. Okay. All right, Jerry. I thought what I'd do is I was going to run them through real quickly, just what we're going to be covering over the next 9 weeks, and then if you want to do your video, that'd be great. Okay. All right. All right. Now, this is kind of a pat part of the first class, and that's asking, the people about themselves. Really, I mean, forget all these questions. The big thing that we would like to know, though, is what is your primary interest? There's a lot of different stuff you can do in amateur radio, and although, and I'll be very honest, when I'm the sessions that I will be doing, I really concentrate on teaching the test so you can pass it. But we also want to cover, with additional information, any specific areas of interest you have. If you're interested in emergency communications or any of the other groups involved, there are storm spotting groups. There's contesting groups. There's another thing that ham radio does is for those of you who play with sophisticated drones or wish to play with sophisticated drones, there's a series of frequencies that allow you to send command codes to your drone farther. It's frequencies that give you more range than you can get with a standard off-the-shelf drone package. I think with those standard off-the-shelf drone packages on their standard frequencies, you'll only get, I think, a few hundred yards, whereas using the frequencies in amateur radio, you can have a range of several miles. So you can do all kinds of fun snooping, I guess. So anyhow, if we can start off here, and Michael, you're the first one up on my screen there. Can I just tell us a little bit about yourself, and kind of specifically, is there some particular area of amateur radio you want us to make sure to cover?
Well, my name's Michael Grang, and I was in the Navy for 32 years, and so we were all over the world. And I was always interested in listening, just like you, to the conversations. I've always had a small portable radio that I would listen to the ham radio, and I always got interested in it. But because we moved and because I was busy with my career, then I didn't really get a chance to experience it the way that I wanted. And I actually started this course last year and took it, but then we traveled, and so I wasn't able to finish it. And so that's why I'm doing it again this year. For those that haven't been in this is a very good class, and I've been waiting for it to start up again. But I'm just interested in being able to maybe now travel through the sound waves and through instead of physically going around. I have a receiver here, and I can listen to things all over, and I really enjoy it. But I want to be able to do the talking now, so that's why I'm taking this course.
Okay, Monique, would you tell us a little?
Sure. My name is Monique Dumais, and I got interested in ham radio because years ago, when I was a kid, my family, they traveled, through Europe, and we had an old Grundig Majestic radio that we would listen to, an old huge one, and I was always fascinated about hearing other countries and talking to other people. And I have friends in other countries as well. They're not hams, but just got interested in what else is going on. Also, I started wondering about, emergency communication and see if, how I can get into ham and help in that area as well. But what's interesting that for me is I'd like to learn a little bit on how to build the equipment. I have a background in electronics. I started as an electronic technician early in my career. I've been in manufacturing for many, many years now. So, I'd like to see if I could even build some of my equipment to get back into my electronics and my hobbies.
You've come to the right place.
All
Your
right.
license, it limits the frequencies that you can use compared to an extra class.
mail.
Your license will allow you to modify equipment, the two-way radio equipment that's other services need an outside technician to adjust. You can build from scratch or modify things to your liking. Here's something. Do you know anything about Raspberry Pis?
I've heard a little bit about that. Yeah, Raspberry Pi and programming and things of that nature, and that sparks my interest as well.
Okay, it's a small computer, and somebody found that it generates a radio frequency signal, and they have played with that radio frequency signal and actually made a two-way radio out of it. So all sorts of neat things you can do. I think you're going to have a lot of fun.
All right, great.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, thanks. You know what? I just got a text from the Dunnigans, and they didn't have the email address, or they didn't have the Zoom credentials. So I was busy sending them the Zoom credentials. So we're going to have some other people joining us. But at this point, let's go. Can we go to Deborah Bedagliaccio?
Hi, yeah, my husband Nick is here as well. And we're primarily just taking this class. We don't really know anything about ham radio, but we're kind of prepping and getting ready for whatever comes. And so we're kind of interested in the emergency, part of it. But we have no experience with ham radio at all.
Okay, well, fine. We're fine. We're fine with preppers. So we've had them come through, and actually, there's a website that will send you to. It's what's it called? Off-road ham, I think it's called. A fellow who has actually sort of cut himself off from the rest of the world in some respects. He has his own solar battery panels and a lot of other things, and his bulletins are full of all sorts of good advice. So we're okay. When it hits the fan, then you can do anything you want. But if it hits the fan, you should have learned something about radio circuit discipline, net discipline, things of that sort, because who are you going to talk to? If you need something, who's going to answer you? If you have a group of people that you can relate to and can talk to in the right way, you can get things done.
Great, thank you.
Yes, and also make sure that you have power source. So on the side, you should learn a little bit about solar power and of course battery power too, because things go south and the grid goes down. Without a source of electricity, you're just looking at some nice furniture. Okay. Hey, Rich, what's up?
Hey, I've been interested for a long time, actually. Just one of those things I haven't gotten around to. And then I put on a wish list a long time ago and kind of forgot about it. Somebody, this past Christmas bought me a UV5R just kind of out of the blue. And so I'm like, I got this. And then I talked to my Uncle John, W8TOY, and he said, you need to talk to these guys. He was talking about you guys. So I figured I would check it out and see what I can learn. I have it lot of experience with electronics. I've been doing it for a long time. I was in the Navy as well in nuclear engineering, and I've been working with electronics my whole life. So I still got a fair amount to learn here, but the electronics I think I'll be okay with. Also, emergency communication, both for myself and helping the community, is, you know, two of the big things I'd like to get out of this.
Rich, where are you located?
Shelby Township.
That's Oakland County?
Yep. No, Macomb.
No, Macomb.
Okay. Yeah, Macomb has a very active emergency communications organization, as does Oakland County. And I think you'll have a lot of fun with them.
Oh, cool.
Okay, Heather? Well, what's going on in Oregon?
Not too much. Yeah, so I'm Heather, and I'm happy to be in this group and that you guys let me join. I'm interested from a, you know, mainly an emergency preparedness point of view, but also sort of family tradition for me. I'm also former Navy, third generation SIGINT, and my dad says he's going to send me one of my grandpa's old ham radios if I pass my technician license. So I really want to pass. And yeah, I grew up around ham radio. I was raised by my grandparents mainly, and my grandfather was I guess you could say sort of a competitive ham radio operator. He tried to contact people all over the world after he got out of World War II, people in Japan, people in Australia, people in Russia, well, Soviet Union. So I've just been around it my whole life, but I became more interested in it after I got out of the Navy with training injuries. I had to relearn how to walk, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And so I started in computer engineering, and my life is very online, but that naturally leads me to, you know, kind of have that imagination about what do you do when there is no online. And so yeah, it's really, really interesting subject to me, but I know very little about practical ham radio operations. So I think I'll learn a lot here, and I'm excited.
That's great. You know, one of the fellows in our club, well, he's very ambitious. He's trying to start or actually restart a high school program with the Detroit Public Schools, training kids in avionics. And he tells me that's someone who can get the training, get the licensing, can start off in the industry at $60,000 a year with high school education. So that's really something. This fellow also got me into the Society of Old Crows. You know what a crow is, Heather?
I don't.
These are electronic warfare specialists. So, of course, a lot of the stuff they do, they have to know basic radio theory, radio propagation, stuff like that. So, what else they do, I don't know. But anyway, it's interesting. I think you'll find a lot of good things here.
Okay. How about the Backbergs, Sarah and Rich? Let me ask you a quick question here, because I got a kickback on Rich's email address, and I had it as rbackberg@yahoo.com, which is fine. But I notice on your label here, you have another E in Backberg. It's BAKEBERG.
Yeah, you're close, man. I get that all the time. It's this is Rich, by the way.
Okay.
So Sarah, my wife, did send it to me, the link there. So, but it is Backeberg, BACKEBERG.
Okay, so I screwed it up here. I'll correct that.
No, that's one of many variations. People usually throw an R or an N or a U. There's a whole bunch of fun ones in there. You could put in there. But yeah, I guess I'll speak for the Backebergs here. We it's funny, Jerry, you mentioned you lived in Rockford for a little bit. I actually work in Rockford and have for a while with the high school in Rockford and everything. So that was funny that you mentioned that, because my ears perked up when you mentioned that town. But I live just west of there now. But yeah, we're primarily interested in emergency communication with our family and just wanting to have that option if there's no other way of communication. So just interested in that primarily is why we're in the class today.
Okay.
That's great. One of the classes, when we start talking about emergency communications, we're teaching on a good night because my county's organization, emergency organization, has a network going on Thursdays at 8 o'clock. So we will listen in and see how they run it. They use almost military discipline on this thing, and they get things done. I mean, there was an exercise where we assumed, well, every something like 17 hospitals in our county have ham radio stations in it, just in case something hits the fan. So they all connect to the County Emergency Operations Center. So we could have a police car take a load of drugs from one hospital to the other, or a load of water. I think that's what happened in 2004, things like that. So yes, they can get good things done with the right discipline.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. All the hospitals in the Oakland County area at least also have ham radios, and again, for an emergency when other stuff doesn't work. So, okay.
That's,
yeah.
I was gonna say that's pretty cool too. I'm sure there's plenty of things I don't even know exist. So it's just fun just to hear things like that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Kelly, what's going on with you?
Hey everyone, my name's Kelly and I'm from the DC area. Why am I taking this course? My background's in engineering, but I wanted to do something to like fill up my time, learn something new, like for New Year's, my resolution was like pick up a new hobby. So this is it. So I have no idea what about aside from my, physics class about wavelengths and stuff. That's about it. Yeah, I expect it to be really fun and much more fun than my other ham radio class. So like that class is just so awkward. It was just like, like you have a instructor and the classmates that make it or break it. So
yeah. No, we don't use that philosophy. We're here to let everyone make it, not break it.
Yeah. And we hope have a little fun along the way too.
Okay, good. Because no one laughed my jokes in the other class, so I'm hoping this one will be different.
Okay. Oh, great. All right. In our club itself, we have a whole bunch of people who are, excuse me, in the IEEE. This being the Motor City, a lot of automotive engineers, and actually a lot of radio station sound engineers. So really uncanny how the hobby attracts them. But I think you'll learn quite a bit with us.
Not everyone is highly tech. I'm not one of the engineering types. I spent 48 years as an accountant, so I come at it from a different point of view, and mostly for fun. So, okay, Dustin and Jessica. Hey, I am sorry you didn't get the links right off the bat. I had apparently I had written down one of your email addresses incorrectly because I kept getting it bounced back by Mailer Demon. So I'm glad you texted me. Anyhow, so Dustin and Jessica, what we're doing here is we're just asking people what their primary interest is in amateur radio, because there's so much you can do in ham radio. Everything from like some of the people are interested in emergency communication. Some are just in for fun to talk, to people in different places. Jerry has a daughter who's a medical professional out in Colorado, and among other things he does is talk to her, and but there's a
Yeah.
bunch of other stuff you can do. So what's your primary interest?
Oh, they said their mic is not working in our chat box.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the chat box. Okay. Well, we'll make up stories about you then. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
emergency, interested in emergency communication.
Oh, okay.
Great, you come to the right place.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, Jerry, is my screen, am I progressing? Or am I?
Yes, for some strange reason, I see a black bar covering part of your screen. I don't know if it's just me or whether
Oh, no,
it's.
I noticed that too.
We see it too over here.
Same thing on the right side too. There's a
Yeah.
black bar.
Let's see. I've got
No,
all my.
you just reduced it. You just
You moved
reduced it
it.
down.
Yeah, you moved it.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it's
now you
gone.
moved it to the bottom.
Yeah, I
Okay.
moved it to the bottom. Is that better?
That's good.
Okay. Hey, let me give you a real quick 10-cent summary of what's going to be going on for the next 9 weeks or so. Tonight, we're just kind of getting our feet wet on this and kind of giving you an introduction. You say what you can expect of us to start on time and end on time. Well, maybe we'll kind of start on time. We were close tonight. But sometimes it'll take some of you a little longer to get on, and that's fine. And end on time. Ending time is 9 o'clock. We won't go beyond 9 o'clock tonight. Tonight we're probably going to be much shorter. But that's okay. But because we're not just going to fill up 2 hours because we schedule 2 hours. So, at any rate, what we're going to do is we're going to do approximately 1 chapter per night. We'll be here to answer questions. Jerry, are we going to do office hours again?
I'd like to if necessary. Yeah, that's
Okay.
a really good concept.
Okay. Well, let's not do it this Sunday since we're only in chapter 1. But
Right.
Next Sunday, let's kind of think about that. And because what we did for our fall session is we scheduled out or we set aside a time on Sunday afternoon from 1 o'clock to 3, so you could drop in if you wanted to talk about anything ham radio related, or if you had any good jokes to tell.
Or if
Okay.
if something just didn't seem to gel in our presentation, something like that sort. Because no, we want you to understand everything that we throw at you.
Okay. So, this will be better, by the way, if you participate. It's like you learn more if you participate rather than just, sit and listen to us moan on. There's practice tests. Oh, well, I'm not going to go to it right now.
Practice.
The more you practice, the better it is. I sent you some links on one of the handouts. Oh, you know what? I'll talk about that later. What the hell? Okay, chapter 1. Now, what we're expecting I'm going to skip that. Chapter 2 next week, and next week Jerry is going to be talking. The subject is one of the really interesting ones in ham radio, and that's radio signals, radio waves, radio signals. It's probably my second favorite chapter in the book. Okay, the third week, and I'll be talking the third week, and it's just real basic electricity. Those of you who are already engineering minded, this is just going to be real basic stuff. But for those of you who aren't, it's really interesting stuff. It's just very basic. Jerry has the greatest saying about this whole ham radio technician license material, and that is we cover a lot of different area. The area we cover, it's miles wide, but it's only 1 inch deep. So it's just the very basics. You know, you get to the other licenses, you'll learn a lot more, but we at least give you an introduction. Chapter 3 is interesting. You'll like it. Chapter 4, Jerry is going to be presenting Chapter 4. He's going to be presenting Chapter 4 because, like I say, he is the Jedi Master. Chapter 4 is my favorite chapter. It's my favorite subject. It's
we're sort of switching around a little bit, so Bob can get a little practice on it, really.
So anyhow, but propagation, yeah, it's one I've always done in the past, so he's taking it this time. So yeah, that's radio wave propagation, how your radio signals get sent. Some are line of sight, some bounce off the earth, some bounce off the satellites, some go right through the atmosphere, and whatever.
And some actually cling to the ground.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's Chapter 4. Then after that, we'll get to Chapter 5. This is the chapter I like to refer to as Parts is Parts. And what we're going to be talking about is different components that would fit into your ham radio station. This is this is a screenshot of a very complicated transceiver, but which you're probably not going to have for some time. Okay, now Chapter 6. Chapters 6 through 9 are different. Chapters 6 through 9 are not techie type chapters. What they are, this is stuff you've got to know. It's very relatively easy stuff, but but you got to know it because a lot of this stuff you can't guess at. Jerry is going to be doing Chapter 6, and he's going to be talking about communicating with other hams and how that's done. We get to Chapter 7. I'll be doing Chapter 7, and again, Chapter 7 is regs. Yes, regs, rules and regs. This may not be a terribly interesting chapter, but it's the easiest chapter in the book, and it's just stuff you got to know, you know, because like a lot of regs that come out of federal government, you know what, they're made in committees and they're compromises. And what that means is there's stuff you couldn't possibly guess at because it's so arbitrary. One of the questions that may appear on your test is, how many people do you have to have in a ham radio club in order to get a ham radio license for the club? Not just for the individual people, but for the club. All right, pick a number, any number. I mean, it could be 2.
Yeah.
Why not? Well, how about 3? How about 6, a half a dozen? Or 12, the number of signs in the zodiac, you know, whatever. No, the correct answer is 4. And there's just no particular reason except a bunch of people sitting around the table drinking coffee and waiting for a bathroom break decided they were going to, you know, settle with 4. And there's a bunch of stuff like that in Chapter 7. It's easy, but you got to know it, and it's, you know, kind of picky. Chapter 8, oh, yeah, Part 97, the Federal Communications Law, Part 97. Gee, I have a copy of it. It's about 62 pages long. I've been a ham since 2004. I haven't read it. And if I'm a ham for another 16 years, I probably still won't read it. But we'll teach you enough of what you need to know in licensing regulations to get you through the exam.
Well, for instance, when I give to the classes, someone told me that I can make an easy $500. All I have to do is contact a ham radio station in North Korea and give some information. So the guy's brother is selling some military equipment to North Korea, and he has to get the price of these things. All I have to do is give him the information. And the question is, how many regulations am I breaking by doing that? Is it worth $500?
Yeah. Quick answer, no. But seriously, there's at least a half a dozen regulations he would be breaking in doing that. Okay, Chapter 8 is just operating procedures, and this is how to communicate radio to radio, how to communicate through a repeater. We'll talk about what a repeater is. That's simply a radio mounted somewhere high that lets you communicate greater distances on VHF and UHF frequencies. We'll tell you about traffic handling, and we'll talk just real briefly about contesting and digital communications, sending dots and dashes or bits and bytes instead of your voice. Okay, and then Chapter 9 is safety. At the technician class level, there's very little electrocution concern.
Don't be so sure. We've had some casualties.
Well, yeah,
people on the roof.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, when they drop their antenna into a power line, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, when they drop their antenna into a power line, but playing around with your computer in your room, or playing around with your radio in your room, there's very little worry there. Kind of the big concern is, when you're putting up your antenna, don't fall off the roof. But that's that. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you know what? This is in this all this basic stuff about this might be covered in your video. So do you want to, Jerry? Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to take over, and do you want to?
Okay. Right. I want to say one thing. All the stuff is kind of mystifying. What we're trying to do is to help you to pass your license. Some of it might have to be done by brute force, by going through practice tests until it comes out of your ears. But once you get the license, then you can learn how to be a ham. Because what else? I got my technician license. I got this neat little handy talkie. Now what do? I push the button. What do I say? What do I say? What kind of equipment? There's what's the best radio? Of course, best radio. Is it a Dodge Ram or a Ford F-150? It's one of those questions. But we do have, we'll act as guides and mentors as much as we can. Wherever you are locally, there are radio clubs that will help out. When my daughter got her equipment, she joined a radio club and told the people about her experiences. And a week later, 2 guys show up at her door. We're the A team. They climbed up on her roof, installed her antenna, made a contact, and then handed the mic to her. So we can't do that. My wife won't let me crawl on roofs anymore. But at least we can give you a lot of good advice. Okay, I'm going to see. Let's see if I can share screen. Okay, and that's not it. Does anyone see this?
Jerry, what we're seeing is the tech license exam composition.
Okay, you're not seeing the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club thing. Okay.
No.
Hang on a sec. Let me get back to the.
Actually, what you're showing is one of the handouts I sent out.
Right. Exactly.
Thank you for that. You're plugging my stuff. Good.
Sure. Okay. No. All I have to do is fight this thing and try to get it to open up. Hang on a second. Okay. Okay, I see this. Okay, this is it. How do we get out of this?
Oh, stop sharing the one you're on now and then reshare. Yeah, kind of back out and come back in.
Won't let me. It says new share, resume share.
Oh, try resume share and then quit.
Okay. No. Pause share. And I'm going to try a new share and see if that helps. Additional class. Stop share. Okay. Get rid of this. And sorry about this. I'm screen sharing something. What do you see?
This is your was it the Windows Manager?
Yeah, and oh, here. Okay, it just moved around. Okay, play. Okay, how's that? Bob, you see that?
Nothing's happening yet.
Hazel
We're
Park
still-
Amateur.
Yeah, we're still on
Radio.
File Manager, but
Nothing happened?
nothing happening yet.
All right, I'll stop it and start it again. Um, how's that?
No, we're back to your File Manager again.
Okay, because File Manager seems to have gone away. Okay, more.
Jerry, do you know what the actual file is? Because the play
Yeah.
file is a batch file. That in and of
That's-
itself is not a media file.
It's the play file I want to hit because it's a self-contained PowerPoint.
The play file is only 1 kilobyte. That's not much.
It
And so
starts a lot.
it must be
it's-
referencing something else.
Yes, it starts a lot.
yeah.
It starts a lot of things. It's just I cannot find.
How about auto run?
That's
Or-
what I'm saying. One of the other like actually directly opening the PowerPoint file or something else.
Okay, meeting controls are detached from the rest of the screen. Tell you what, I'm going to leave and then come right back. Would that be okay?
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Okay, while he's out. While Jerry's out, let me talk a minute about this thing. how do I get rid of that? The test, it has 35 questions, of which you can miss 9. Now, the thing is, what I wanted to show you on this is that really, especially for those of you who are not into the technology very much, you'll notice that there's really only a few questions on each different bit of subject matter. The operating procedures, those you'll learn. The first two, FCC rules and operating procedures, those are easy areas. Radio wave characteristics, that's a little techy. It's not difficult, but it's a little techy, but still there's only 3 questions there. This thing, electrical principles, this T5, electrical principles, math for electronics, electronic principles, Ohm's law, there's only 4 questions. Most of that is really easy anyway. And same thing with electrical components and circuit diagrams. Oh, and when they say math for electronics, all they're really talking about there is things like if they give you a number in megahertz, what is it in kilohertz? Well, we'll tell you how to make those conversions. Down here at the bottom, here are some interesting links that will help you out and get you to where you need to go. Particularly these 2 last links where you can get to practice tests. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And Jerry, hi, welcome back, sir.
Well, let's hope this will work.
Okay, take her away.
Okay, share screen. If nothing yet, then says I'm sharing the screen, and is it showing the actual program working, or is it just showing that?
No, it's just showing the file manager screen.
Okay. And why don't I just talk it out?
Okay.
How's that? All right. We'll try to figure out the technicalities. What's keeping it from going the way it should? Okay. Did Bob tell you about the composition of the exam? What you're supposed to know?
Oh, I just did that real briefly, Jerry.
Okay, 200.
Just in the couple of minutes you were gone. So go ahead, go for it.
Okay. Right. If you have your license manual, you can look in the back, or if you have it on Kindle, you can look in the back there. There are some blue edged pages on the back. Those are all of the questions that are going to be on your exam. All the possible questions. From the 300 and some questions that are on there, certain questions from each of the categories are going to be picked. So you have a total of 35 different questions. Some will cover regulations, some will cover electronics, some will cover basic electricity, safety, so on and so forth. And you'll end up with a 35 question exam. It's multiple choice. I'm in charge of doing the exams for this club, so I've had plenty of experience with it. So when you take the exam, you have 35 questions. You can miss up to 9 questions and still pass. So that's pretty neat. Now, the thing is, these are known questions, known answers, which means that you could memorize all the questions and all the answers to the questions and pass. And is that cheating? No, it just means you have a really good memory. And as I say, the important thing is to have you pass the exam legally, and then you can begin your experience as a ham. You can start learning. So that's pretty much what it is. On the edge of each of those pages, you'll see the answers to the questions.
Yeah, Jerry, I'm showing one of those pages.
Okay. And but I'm trying to see whether or not.
At least I think I am.
Okay.
Hugh, am I showing a
For some reason, it's not letting me do full screen at this point. Right
Should we
here.
still be seeing the Windows Explorer folder with all the files? That's what I'm seeing currently.
Well, I can't access it.
Gotcha.
Is my problem. So what I'm doing is just describing. And now, do all of you have at least a Kindle edition of the manual?
Yeah, I have the book that I opened to.
Okay, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
so
book too.
anyway, okay, I'm just describing what the book does. So, and anyway, Bob has given you a couple of links. ARRL has a link to a machine that generates practice exams. And what we ask you to do is to really work hard, practice until you get very familiar with this. We say from our own observations that if you get scores of 85% or better, you're going to pass. You're going to get it. And you might even have a shot at the same exam session. If you pass your technician exam, we will offer you free for no charge, a chance to try the general class exam. And some people, like the engineers, may know something about enough to be able to get their generals. We've had some people, mostly in the scientific community, who've gone from no license to extra class license in one sitting. So that's something to look at. So that's pretty much it. There are websites, as we go on, there are websites that will allow you to print flashcards if you really want to seriously brute force that. And I will, in time, give you some other manuals or links to other manuals that are free that you'd be able to use it just in case you need a different viewpoint. So that's pretty much what we do. Okay, Bob.
okay? So, let's see that next tip. All right. And Jerry, can you stop sharing?
Your screen sharing is paused. Stop share, yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, then where was I? Let's go back up a little bit. Yeah, Jerry was starting to tell you the contents of the book. Am I sharing the?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you notice there's a glossary in the back. It's easy to refer to. Jerry was telling you about the question pool and about where the questions are in the book. These are the actual questions with the actual answers that you might see. When you're going through and studying this, if you look at this first question, this referred to as T5A01, electrical current is measured in which of the following units? It's amperes. Over here on the right, you see, first off, it shows you that the correct answer is D. And then what it shows you underneath that page 3A, if you want to go find out, the explanation for that particular question or for that particular answer, that's where you go. So this is 3-1. Okay.
The Kindle edition will actually give you a link to shoot you back to 3-1.
Yeah, and then you can go and read up on things that you didn't understand, on answers that you didn't understand. That's kind of handy. QSL cards. Jerry, do you want to talk about QSL cards?
Hang on a second.
You got a bunch of those, don't you?
Okay. Well, first of all, that's me. And these are old-fashioned calling cards that we used to send. This is a very good collection of people from all around the world, or at least, Japan. Hot ziggity, one American boy. I don't know if that exists anymore, but it's Saudi Arabian station. A former king of Jordan was actually a ham too. But anyway, it's an acknowledgement of a contact, and you would have collections of these cards, and you could get awards. I think Heather was talking about a relative who was a big contester. If you contact 100 countries, you'd get the DX Century Award, and so on and so forth. Through the year, there are various contests. Each country has its own little contest. I remember trying to collect a bunch of stations in Slovenia because they had them set up in different churches. So you'd get a different saint's picture. And if you collected all the saints, you get an award. But there are also international contests where it's just a whole bunch of people trying to contact each other. Nowadays, they're going into computerized QSL acknowledgements. It's a lot cheaper than sending mail. These things are, I don't know, 35 cents or something like that.
48 cents, I think.
48, and internationally, it's last time I looked, it was $1.20, and sometimes stations would ask you for a few dollars in backsheesh or tips or something of that sort to send it. So the electronic things are getting a lot more popular nowadays. EQSLs, I think they're called. But that's a very nice collection to put on the wall.
And it's just kind of fun. I have one myself, and I don't send out very many, but it's a cool thing to collect if you can find people that'll send you the card. Okay, and like Jerry was talking about, there's bunches of contests if you're kind of into that thing. I do participate in contests, not to win any prizes or anything like that, but just because when there is a contest going on, there's going to be lots of people on the air, and you can make a lot of different contacts. Now, contacts for contests are very, very brief. It may be something as brief as, this is N8REL. You are 5'9", Michigan, and that's that. But each contest has their own required exchanges. But that's just something to look forward to. And they're all throughout the year.
And one thing that's kind of fun for technicians because of the kind of limitations you have and the frequencies you use. There is one band, the 10-meter band, which does have international communications. And if you get into a contest, like one of my friends said he was just minding his own business on 10 meters, and all of a sudden he contacted something like 10 or 15 countries. And it was a big and welcome surprise to him. So you would probably do mostly voice, sometimes digital in your contacts. Tom?
Okay. Actually, Jerry, that is really what I wanted to cover for tonight. Now, for next week, you've got your books. If you haven't read chapter 1, breeze through chapter 1. There's not that much to it. The only thing that chapter 1 is going to tell you is that, ham radio, amateur radio, is regulated by the Federal Communications Commission. And that's who we answer to. That's who gives us licenses. There is an international telecommunications union. The FCC interacts with them, as does our national club, but the regs we get are from the Federal Communications Commission. There is, and I think later on in the course, we're also going to be talking a little bit about the National Ham Radio Organization, which is the American Radio Relay League. It's been around since like 1914 or something.
Yep.
And we'll talk more about that. But okay. But so for next week, do read chapter 1, but read chapter 2. Chapter 2. First off, it's interesting stuff. It's radio waves, and it's just cool. It's a cool subject. Jerry's going to be presenting that. And
Jerry's going to be working very hard to get this computer working. That's for sure. Before we leave, though, let's ask for any questions. Really,
yes,
you've got that reaction thing. If you have any questions, something comes up, please ask. We want to make sure that you understand what we're saying.
Ask me any question. Jerry will answer.
Well, what is that one? I'll ask any question for $100. Yes. Isn't that expensive? Yes. What's your next question?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Are there any questions? Anyone want?
Hopefully it's not $100 question.
No.
Is there any way to look up call signs and see if they're still registered? I wanted to see, are they like retired after they go out of use, or are they reused? I want to see what happened to my grandpa's call sign.
Okay, I have a pretty good handle on that, unless you want to.
Go ahead.
Okay, Heather, how long has it been since your grandfather had his calls? When did he pass?
Like 2 decades ago.
2 decades ago. Okay. There's universal.
I know what it is too.
Okay, the ULS. I'll tell you what. I'll jot that down. Okay. What's it?
K6QW.
K6QW. Okay, that's going to be a toughie for one reason. It's a sign of distinction to have a 1x2 K6QW. So someone might already have that, or have had it reassigned, and might not want to give it up. But
unfortunately, it is reassigned. It's reassigned to someone in California. K6QW, yeah, it's a Gary Sanchez in Laguna Niguel.
Huh, okay.
Okay, so it might not be very easy for you, although you can get vanity call signs, just like a vanity license plate.
Gotcha.
And there are websites that will keep track of what's available. But 1x2s are very, very hard to find.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you for checking.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, now I do have a habit of sometimes if people are nodding too much, I may start going into some weird things. Like the hamster cage that generates static electricity. That's things of that sort. Until someone wakes up and says, "Hey, what are you talking about?" So just going to warn you. But other than that, we'll talk about a huge radio dial, among other things. And I've got a whole bunch of cute animations, if I can get them to work on this thing. And I'll send you links to them so you can play with them yourself, including one that you can build your own circuit. Okay.